The security guard's voice cut through the pristine marble lobby like a knife. "Sir, you can't be in here looking like that." I froze, my muddy work boots squeaking against the polished floor of Manhattan's most exclusive jewelry boutique. Every customer, every employee, every person in that gleaming temple of luxury turned to stare at me like I was some kind of diseased animal. "My name is Daniel Carter. I'm 28 years old, and I've been working as a delivery driver in New York City for the past 3 years. That Tuesday afternoon in October, I had just finished the worst delivery route of my life. A broken water main had flooded half of Brooklyn, and I'd spent 6 hours wading through ankle-deep mud and debris, delivering packages to grateful customers who were dealing with their own flood damage. The irony wasn't lost on me that I was now standing in Harrison and Associates' fine jewelry, holding a small velvet box containing my girlfriend Sarah's engagement ring. A ring I'd been saving for, working double shifts for, sacrificing everything for over the past year. "I said you need to leave," the security guard repeated, his hand moving to his radio. The other customers whispered among themselves, some pulling out their phones. I could see the disgust in their eyes, the way they stepped back as if poverty was contagious. "I'm here to pick up an engagement ring," I said quietly, my voice barely above a whisper. "I have the receipt." My hands trembled as I reached into my jacket pocket, pulling out the crumpled paper that represented months of saved tips and skipped meals. The elderly woman behind the counter looked at me with such disdain that I felt my face burn with shame. "I'm sorry, but we have a dress code," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "This is a respectable establishment. Before you continue watching this story, let me ask you, where are you watching this from? Drop a comment below telling me what city you're in right now, and if you're enjoying this story, please hit that subscribe button. Your support means everything to me." The security guard stepped closer, and I could smell his cheap cologne, mixed with the scent of the leather chairs and expensive perfume that filled the air. "Look, buddy, I don't want to have to call the police. Just leave quietly, clean yourself up, and maybe come back another time." Another time? I felt something snap inside me. I've been working 16-hour days for months to afford this ring. I've been saving every penny, eating ramen noodles for dinner, walking to work instead of taking the subway. I have the money, I have the receipt, and I have every right to be here. The woman behind the counter shook her head. "Sir, please don't raise your voice. You're disturbing our other customers." I looked around the store at the other customers. Men in $1,000 suits, women dripping in diamonds, all of them staring at me like I was some kind of spectacle. One woman had her phone out, recording everything. Another was whispering to her husband, pointing at my mud-stained uniform. "I'm not raising my voice," I said, trying to keep my composure. "I'm just trying to get the ring I paid for. The ring that's supposed to be ready for pickup today." The security guard's radio crackled, and I heard him whisper something about a situation. My heart started racing. All I wanted was to get Sarah's ring and get out of there. All I wanted was to propose to the woman I loved, to start our life together, to prove that someone like me could make it in this city. "Check the name," I pleaded. "Daniel Carter. I put down a deposit 3 months ago." The woman reluctantly typed something into her computer, her manicured nails clicking against the keys. Her expression changed slightly, and I saw a flicker of something. Surprise? Embarrassment across her face. "Yes, I see the order here," she admitted. "But our policy clearly states that customers must be appropriately dressed when entering the store. What's appropriate about spending your life savings on a piece of jewelry?" I asked, my voice cracking. "What's appropriate about working yourself to death just to prove you're worthy of love?" The woman with the phone was still recording, her eyes wide with excitement. She was getting it all. My humiliation, my desperation, my complete and utter breakdown in front of a room full of strangers. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave one more time," the security guard said, his hand now resting on his belt. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." I looked down at my mud-stained uniform, at my calloused hands. at the receipt that was now damp with sweat. This was supposed to be one of the happiest days of my life. This was supposed to be the day I finally got Sarah's ring, the day I could finally ask her to marry me. Instead, I was being treated like a criminal for having the audacity to enter a store while poor. "Fine," I said, my voice barely audible. "But I want you to know that I work harder in one day than most of these people work in a month. I deliver their packages, I bring them their food, I make their lives easier. And this is how you treat me." I turned to leave, my face burning with shame and anger. As I walked toward the door, I could hear the whispers following me, the judgmental comments, the relief in their voices that the problem was finally leaving. But I didn't know that the woman with the phone had captured everything. I didn't know that in just a few hours, my humiliation would be seen by millions of people around the world. And I had no idea that this moment, this awful, crushing moment, would change my life forever. I sat in my beat-up Honda Civic in the parking garage beneath the jewelry store, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles had turned white. The engagement ring, Sarah's ring, was still sitting behind that glass counter, and I was sitting here in my car, defeated and humiliated. My phone buzzed, a text from Sarah. "Hey, babe, how did it go? Did you get the ring?" I stared at the message, my vision blurring with tears I refused to shed. How could I tell her? How could I explain that I wasn't good enough, clean enough, respectable enough to even purchase the ring I'd already paid for? I was about to type a response when my phone started ringing. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Daniel Carter?" The voice was professional, polished. "Yes, who is this?" "My name is Rebecca Martinez, and I'm a producer with Channel 7 News. I'm calling about a video that's been circulating on social media." "Are you the delivery driver who was asked to leave Harrison and Associates fine jewelry today?" My blood ran cold. "What video?" "Sir, there's a video of you being asked to leave the store that's been shared over 50,000 times in the past 2 hours. It's trending on Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. People are calling it luxury store discrimination and working class hero humiliated." I felt sick. "I don't understand." One of the customers recorded the entire interaction. "The video shows you being denied service despite having a receipt and payment. It sparked a massive conversation about classism and discrimination. Would you be willing to come on the show tonight?" I hung up the phone, my hands shaking. Within minutes, it was ringing again and again and again. By the time I got home to my small apartment in Queens, there were news vans parked outside my building. My phone had 47 missed calls, 200 text messages, and my social media accounts were flooded with notifications. Sarah was waiting for me in the hallway, her eyes wide with concern. "Daniel, what's happening? There are reporters downstairs asking about you." I showed her the video. We watched in silence as millions of people witnessed my humiliation, my desperation, my complete breakdown. But something strange was happening in the comments. "This is disgusting. How dare they treat him like this? I'm never shopping at Harrison and Associates again. This man works harder than anyone in that store. Shame on them. Justice for Daniel." The story had taken on a life of its own. People were sharing their own experiences of being discriminated against, of being judged by their appearance, of being treated as less than human because of their economic status. By 10 p.m., Harrison and Associates Fine Jewelry had released a statement. "We are aware of the incident that occurred at our Manhattan location today. We are reviewing our policies and procedures to ensure all customers are treated with respect and dignity." By midnight, the video had been viewed over 2 million times. By morning, it had reached 10 million. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table reading comment after comment, watching as my story became a symbol of something much larger than myself. People were organizing boycotts, sharing their own stories, demanding change. At 7 a.m., my phone rang. The caller ID showed a number I recognized, Harrison and Associates Fine Jewelry. "Mr. Carter." The voice was different this time, softer, more respectful. This is Margaret Harrison, the owner of Harrison and Associates. I'm calling to personally apologize for the treatment you received at our store yesterday. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Mr. Carter, what happened to you was completely unacceptable. We have terminated the employees involved, and we're implementing new training programs for all of our staff. We would like to invite you back to the store to complete your purchase, and we'd like to offer you a full refund as well as a formal apology. I don't want your money, I said quietly. I understand your anger, and you have every right to be upset, but please let us make this right. That afternoon, I returned to the store. This time I was greeted by Margaret Harrison herself, along with a team of reporters and cameras. The same marble floors, the same glass cases, the same expensive perfume in the air. But everything felt different. Mr. Carter, she said, her voice trembling slightly. On behalf of Harrison and Associates, I want to apologize publicly for the discrimination you faced yesterday. No customer should ever be treated the way you were treated. She handed me a small velvet box, Sarah's ring, along with a check for the full amount I had paid. We're also donating $50,000 to a local charity that supports working families, she continued. And we're partnering with delivery driver unions to ensure that workers in our community are treated with the respect they deserve. I looked at the ring, then at the cameras, then at the woman who had humiliated me just 24 hours earlier. The irony wasn't lost on me. I was being celebrated for the same thing that had gotten me thrown out of the store. Thank you, I said simply. That evening, I took Sarah to the same bridge in Central Park, where we'd had our first date. The city sparkled below us, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. Sarah, I said, getting down on one knee, I know I'm not rich, and I know I don't have much to offer you except my heart and my promise to work harder every day to build a life with you. She was crying before I even opened the box. Will you marry me? She said yes, of course. And as I slipped the ring onto her finger, I realized that sometimes the worst moments of our lives can become the catalyst for the best ones. The video of my humiliation had been viewed over 50 million times. But more importantly, it had started a conversation. It had made people think about how we treat each other, how we judge each other, how we decide who deserves respect and who doesn't. 3 months later, Sarah and I were married in a small ceremony in Queens. Margaret Harrison attended, along with several of the customers who had witnessed my humiliation and later became advocates for change. The security guard, who had asked me to leave, sent me a handwritten letter of apology and a wedding gift, a picture frame with the inscription, "Every person deserves dignity." I still work as a delivery driver. I still get dirty, I still work long hours, and I still struggle to make ends meet sometimes. But I've learned that your worth isn't determined by the clothes you wear or the money in your bank account. It's determined by how you treat others, how you stand up for what's right, and how you choose to respond when life knocks you down. If you've made it this far in the story, I want to thank you for watching. Please hit that like button if this story resonated with you, and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories that matter. Comment below and tell me about a time when you were judged unfairly. Your story matters too. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply refuse to be invisible. Sometimes the most revolutionary act is just showing up exactly as you are and demanding to be treated with basic human dignity. And sometimes, just sometimes, the world is ready to listen.